Thanksgiving weekend. This is Face the State for Sunday, November 30th. We are thankful after 10 months. Our friend, Republican insider Charlie Giroux, is back in the studio for the first time after a health scare. So he's back, just as another Republican says she is out. What's really behind the exit of Marjorie Taylor Greene? And there are politicians, and then there's public servants. We have a revealing look at what it's like to be a mayor in our area as the critics take aim and take hold on a daily basis.
CBS 21 News presents Face the State with Joel D. Smith, a look at the issues and politics that shape Pennsylvania.
They were elected at the same time 8 years ago. That means these Democratic mayors in York and Lancaster were there during some of the most challenging times in the last few decades, if not longer. How do they view that time? How do they think the time will view them? It's time to find out. It's our exit interviews with the mayor of Lancaster, Danene Sorace, and the mayor of York, Michael Helfrich. You're talking to each other right before this started. The emotions of coming towards the end, is it bittersweet, super sweet? What are you thinking here? You just said you're not going to be wearing suits much anymore.
Yeah, bittersweet is accurate because the reasons why I became mayor, I'm still getting to fulfill those. I'm still in the position to help people and do good things, try to solve problems. But yes, there is a part of it where you have to be on all the time. And everybody wanting you to pay attention and fix their lives all the time.
When you're walking past anybody, does anyone not talk to you? I mean, if you're in a group of 5 people walking past on the other side, how many people are going to ask?
It's a mix. Okay.
But
yeah. No, I have people, the most offensive thing is just when people like physically grab you and rip you to talk to you.
Okay.
Like assault you. That's a surprise every time. Like I was just assaulted and the other person thinks it's just perfectly fine because I'm an elected official.
Yeah.
And they own me.
They own you. Did they really feel that way?
Oh, yes.
Do you get that feeling sometimes?
I mean, there are certainly people that believe that is true. And the touching thing is really weird, especially as a woman. And so I've had to like adapt to like people coming in and like me needing to like establish.
Sometimes is it affectionate? Like they feel like they know you?
Sometimes if there are people that genuinely are my friends or that I know, yeah, I'm going to give you a hug.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that I don't really want to hug or touch me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
when
that's
I'm
just,
eating.
Yeah.
When I'm eating, coming up in a restaurant and touching you while you're eating, I find that particularly offensive for some reason.
This is not the part of you weren't warned about this?
No. And hey, I hate to interrupt you, or no, I don't want to interrupt you.
But let me go.
watch this.
Let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
If I had $1 for every time that happened, I would have supplemented my salary considerably.
Yeah. You're not making this sound too awesome for the next people that are coming in next. Let's just jump right to that. Besides that, what's the message to who's coming after you?
You don't really know exactly how it's going to feel to be the mayor until you're there.
Yeah.
And there's just no shortcut to that.
It is the toughest job I've ever heard of, I will say, because what I think we've both learned is that all of the goodwill and attempted mentoring from the business community gets thrown out the window. Other executives, it's just nothing is the same as being the mayor. You know, even the executive as a president or a governor, you interact much less with the people. And we go to the grocery store, we go to restaurants, we go anywhere we go, and folks want a little bit of our time.
One of the things that for every politician, I don't know how you give them an A grade, is COVID, right? We were all learning on the fly. As parents, I was making adjustments to what we were allowing our kids to do or not do. And then they asked, well, we couldn't do that last week. Well, I know, now we know more. But on a grander scale, you guys had to deal with incredibly tough decisions.
I think it's what Mike said. We did the best we could with the information we had at the moment that we were in. You know, our focus was just, how to keep everybody safe. And in a county where we don't have a health department, the way that York City has a health department, our first major exposure was at a church with a pastor that came in to visit. And that was our sort of ground zero here in the city of Lancaster. And it just felt felt a lot of powerlessness, especially when you would just see the counts rising at the hospital. and the number of people that were intubated and families that couldn't be there.
Those numbers every day were hard to look at, and you hope they would make the turn and go the right way, but for a long time they didn't.
Yeah. So the fact that Mike and I and so many other mayors across America led through those challenges, I think has led us also to say 8 years is enough. I describe it as dog years. There were years during my time in office that were so incredibly challenging. I did not know how I was going to get through the day.
COVID, what was the biggest challenge looking back?
The biggest challenge, honestly, was that I was enforcing the governor's shutdowns on businesses in my community, and then the state did not support their own shutdowns. So I was very disappointed at that time because I was personally going door to door to businesses that I saw were open that were not allowed to be open, and I was making enemies left and right for the sake of community health. And then I didn't get to, and I was, there were these mandates from the state, but it was the municipalities that were basically left to enforce these things. They didn't have a state army or call out the National Guard or anything they could have done to actually enforce their own rules. They counted on us. So when I had their back and then they didn't have mine, I didn't appreciate that. I will tell you this, though, during COVID, I handed over the city to my directors, and I was spending 17 hours a day on social media and then responding to people on social media, and not over mayor stuff, but how do I get my unemployment benefits?
Right.
How do I get this? I was hand delivering toilet paper to people's houses. And that taught me a couple of things. One, I have to be able to trust my directors more, because I literally walked away and gave the city to my directors.
Yeah.
And said, I will be the one dealing with COVID. You guys keep the thing running. And so that worked wonderfully. And I didn't burn out until after COVID, when people continued to ask me to help with any little
things.
Mayor, what's the weather like? I'm like, that's ask Alexa or whatever, or one of those things.
So they got used to it.
Ask Helfrich. So I had to shut down. I walked away from social media, except for a little of my own personal friends and things like that. But that all goes through the office.
And once again, you guys, in terms of bad luck, you're in office during the time where social media and accessibility has been, you can say the best, but actually the worst in terms of criticism or even beyond that.
Yeah.
Someone could just think these nasty thoughts about you, but now they can say them.
Yeah.
And you have to read them. They're there.
I don't have to read them.
Interesting, right? But we're not done yet. Up next, we are still talking to these mayors about their legacies, some of the strategies when it came to the George Floyd protests. Take a listen to this.
And I saw a Latino police officer being verbally abused by protesters. I thought to myself, why would you put police out for the protesters when they're protesting police?
Thanks for spending part of your holiday weekend with us. Let's get back to it. This time in our exclusive exit interview, our mayors reveal some of the challenges of dealing with the protests after the death of George Floyd. So what are they most proud of overall, and some advice to the next mayors as well? Let's get to it. Dealing with that on a local scale when some other cities had some major problems, how do you look back on how Lancaster handled that?
I think for us, moving through COVID and George Floyd was, that was the thing that was the most frustrating, is us to be able to get together, gather and sit down and listen to each other was just so challenged by the fact that we were living in COVID times. And I think that really slowed down the progress that I felt like we could have made as a community.
Coming out of it.
No, in the midst of the protests.
Right.
Being in the midst of COVID during that time and not being able to get together and have the kind of conversations that I wanted to have, because we were also following COVID protocols. And so it just to me, it really interfered with our community being able to make progress.
Have you ever sat back and thought, of all the 8 years in the history of Lancaster or York, I'm here during these two huge, events of time, and then you add in some other things as well? Or maybe is it every cycle has its challenges, we just don't think of it because it's not our time?
You weren't there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that is the case. I'm a historian, and, today people are like, oh, this is the worst it's ever been. And I said, have you ever heard of the Civil War?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Jefferson and Adams and the Alien and Sedition Acts? Have these things have happened before? It's not that this is the worst disagreement that this country has had between the parties, or the geographic regions.
We can just communicate faster and nastier than ever before.
Yes,
that's the problem.
That is a good one. But just to get back, I do want to say, because I think during the George Floyd protests, that is one of the proudest points of my time as mayor. I really feel I was born for it, because I was a protester in Washington, D.C. against the first Iraq War, against the World Trade Organization and corruption and what they do to countries. So when I saw things happening, and I looked at Harrisburg, and I saw a Latino police officer being verbally abused by protesters, I thought to myself, why would you put police out for the protesters when they're protesting police? Aren't you just adding fuel to the fire? So I directed all my people to get off the streets and stay inside buildings in case anything happened. But during those protests, other than the 3 officers and the police commissioner that were walking around with me, you didn't see police in York.
Sounds like a proud moment there. Another proud moment when you're looking back at the entirety of your time. What's going to come out when you look back?
I had to go into the finances of the city and say home rule.
Yeah.
It's the most wonky topic that you can possibly imagine, and it makes my eyes glaze over sometimes. But setting the city up for future financial success and addressing its structural deficit is a really big deal. And I think the other things, there's lots of things I'm proud of, but another thing is our work to remediate lead from our homes and to change the trajectory of children's lives for decades to come.
What's the message to who's coming after you?
Well, I'm really excited for Mayor-elect Arroyo. He will be the first Puerto Rican mayor elected to this office in the city's history. And we have a lot of Puerto Rican residents that have made Lancaster their home over the decades. So I'm pretty excited for the next chapter for Jamie. And I think as vice president on council, he certainly understands the issues. And what I realized being in this seat is that you cannot predict what is going to come your way or when. And you don't really know exactly how it's going to feel to be the mayor until you're there.
Yeah.
And there's just no shortcut to that.
So it doesn't matter. You can give any advice you want to the mayor coming in. It's some of the things you just have to experience yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm lucky because I've been able to bring the incoming mayor into my office since I decided to step out of the race in the spring and support Sandy Walker as our next mayor in York. So she's getting to learn a lot, and she hasn't run away yet. And now it's official. She's elected as of what?
Well, that's what's funny. I was going to ask you guys, was it a tough decision not to run again? You're making it sound pretty easy, actually, after 8 years of dealing with this. I'm sure you're proud of what you did, but it's a tough 8 years.
I've been able to instill more compassion within our government. Some people know that I'm a second chance kind of mayor. People could have had a reason to keep me out of office, and the majority of the people still decided twice, well, 4 times if you count twice on council,
the election,
to give me a chance to prove that I'm not the kid that I was when I was 20, and I'm not going to make decisions the way I did then. And so then to impart that to others, we have many second chance employees that are just amazing. And, I call York the city of second chances because this is what we do. We recognize that people are going to mess up, and then some of us actually forgive and give people another chance. And, with this homelessness issue, a huge success is that when I came in, the 2 issues were homicides and bankruptcy, essentially. And now both of those things have essentially been replaced by experiencing homelessness and the lack of affordable housing.
Yeah.
So to move from homicide and bankruptcy to homelessness and housing, that's progress.
Take it.
Right there. I will definitely take that.
And I would say this, doing your best. You know, you recognize looking back, sometimes what I thought was the best, now when I look back, wasn't the right decision. It wasn't the best decision for everybody. I wish I could have do it different, but at the time I made that decision for a reason. So thanks for doing your best and recognizing that, you know, for your city, it's not always going to be received that way, but most of us understand that's what you were trying to do. So thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. And Danene, I really appreciate all of your work.
Yeah.
She has done so much work for this community, for the entire state of Pennsylvania that maybe a handful of us will ever know about, but I know.
Yeah.
And
thanks,
I thank
Mike.
you.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Right back at you. Yeah, we did it.
The mayors, everybody. Do you mind if I ask you?
All right, I really appreciate their candor on all of this. That was very interesting. These guys are going to react to it. This guy is back. We got a very special edition of our Political Insiders coming your way next. And a big surprise at the end, too. All right, welcome back. And for the first time in a long time, 10 months, I can say, our political inside strategist here for the Republicans is here. Welcome back, Charlie Giroux. How you
Thank
feeling?
you so much. I feel good. Thanks be to God. I'm here, recovering a little bit every day, and so thrilled to be back on the set with you and Tony.
All right, and we told Tony to don't hold anything back. Because,
how can I? I mean, I'm going to protect myself from Charlie, you know?
All right, yep. Tony the Poor is here as well from the Democratic side. Hey, first of all, a reaction to what we heard. I mean, I always said, you know, sometimes they want to be called public servants, but, you know, they get rich, and some of these lawmakers are millionaires by the time they leave. These are public servants. Like you heard, people are touching them and saying, help me do this. It's amazing.
It's very tough to be a mayor of a city like York or Lancaster. It really is, for a whole lot of reasons that you heard about the mayor. But what struck me from the get-go was that these mayors really didn't have the persona or the public awareness that previous mayors had. This wasn't Charlie Robertson or Bill Althouse in York or Art Morris or Mayor Gray in Lancaster. They really kind of operated beneath the surface.
A little bit, and maybe they had to get into things because they had things to get into.
Yeah, that's a good point, Charlie. But, you know, I was the son of a local elected official, the brother of a district attorney in Fayette County. So I understand. Every time we were out as kids, someone came up to my dad or my brother, especially my brother, the DA, and was like literally leaning on him. So I get what they're saying.
It put it in perspective.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Let's talk about this. So this happened last week, but the fallout's still happening. Don't obey illegal orders. 6 members of Congress put out this video. Some are saying it was just a way to start the conversation about what's legal, what's not when it comes to what the Trump administration is doing. Others say it's inappropriate, subverting leadership. Where are you on this, Lepore?
This is scary what the president's doing. Do you see these...
Right there, he says punishable by death, it's sedition.
By death.
They backed off that a little bit, but that's what he said.
But do you see these elected officials are all like great Americans, and he's saying these people should die? It's too much, and now he's sending the FBI to their doorstep. It's too much.
What do you think's going on here?
3 words: chain of command. And when you break that, the whole system falls apart. So for these, you know, non-military people to say, oh, you don't have to, who decides what's legal and what's illegal? I mean, this is preposterous. Maybe the president overreacted, and I think he would admit that he did. But nevertheless, this is very close to sedition, and they need to be held accountable for what they've said and done.
It looks like they are going to at least look into it. Where it goes from there, we shall see. What's really going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene? I mean, talk about a change of heart. She's a firebrand. She's like going up, I will never return. I'm going to come out and say what I think. And now what she thinks is that the Republican Party left her and there's no place for her anymore and she's gone.
Well, I'm not sure there was a real place for her ever, because she was always at the margins of credibility and responsibility when she was a Republican. I mean, she was pretty far out there, and now she's taken another step. So
she was one of the biggest MAGA cheerleaders there were, though. I mean, she
was,
really was behind the president.
And I don't know what her personal beef is with the president. Obviously, something didn't happen.
Yeah.
Typically, that's the case. She asked for something she didn't get, and she's mad. But beyond that, I think a lot of Republicans would say, don't let the door hit you, you know where.
Well, she's in a very strong Republican district. We do know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a Republican seat, but I think basically something is going on. I think she wants to protect herself to have a big job on the way out and doesn't want to get crushed in that election by the president and have her...
In a primary?
Yes, in the primary, and have her reputation, which she's kind of fringe anyway, but have her, what's left of her reputation, destroyed for the future.
Interesting. All right, well, we know that the Latino vote for Donald Trump went up much higher than some people thought. It was one of the reasons that he won the presidency. But we're checking in now that we're a year into this. Where are the Latinos on this? 70% disapprove of the way he is handling his job as president. 65% disapprove of the administration's approach to immigration. 61% say Trump's economic policies have made economic conditions worse. Are these concerning numbers yet?
They're getting there, but the Latino vote, as you know, I am a Latino, has ebbed and flowed through the years. And Donald Trump captured a very significant portion.
It was in the 40s, yeah.
A very significant portion. And history would suggest that there would be a little bit of fall off there. There's been fall off for the Trump administration across the political spectrum, as you know. But I think that when it's all said and done, what Donald Trump does, particularly with the economy and boosting people up with jobs and economic opportunity, is going to bring that Latino.
And one more number
back.
for you. 81% of Latino Trump voters still approve of what he's done so far. So a little erosion there, but not a ton.
So I think what you're going to see is in this next congressional races, especially up in Scranton area, in Allentown area,
Okay.
I think that's where this is going to have its biggest
Gotcha.
effect.
And Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says, hey, when you're traveling for the holidays, get dressed up, look the part. Don't be like Tony was. Look what this is what he made me dress like. He said, no, we're going to just wear pajamas. We're going to the airport in pajamas. Unlike Charlie, when Charlie got me dressed up for the airport, he says, no, my friend. We are going to dress good and feel great about this. We're having fun with this. It doesn't matter how you dress for the airport.
Let me tell you, growing up, my parents made me get dressed up to fly, dressed up to fly.
We used to wear a coat and tie to go to a ball game for crying out loud. We did. I mean, what goes on in these airplanes, with pajamas and pullover? I totally agree with the secretary.
Okay.
Taking shoes off.
Being polite to the staff.
That is, we can all agree on that part. Hey, coming back, we have a unfortunate goodbye, but it's going to be a big one. You'll see. All right, Thanksgiving weekend, we give thanks for a lot of things. We are very thankful that Charlie's feeling good enough to come back with us. But one more person we want to thank, Evan Mack over here. You might have saw him when we did that off-the-air segment. He was my partner in crime. We're talking to all these voters.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your help.
Joel D, man, it's a pleasure, man. It was a pleasure. It was an honor. Appreciate the time, brother. Appreciate meeting you. My man G Rose back. This is the perfect time to come back. It's great, man. Come on, man, here too.
Come on,
what up,
that's right.
brother?
He's an important voice for our station. Unfortunately, he's moving on to bigger and better things, but we're going to keep track of him.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going to happen. But he really put a different emphasis on the voters when we really needed it. So I appreciate all that.
I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate this moment as well, man. Appreciate you, brother.
All right, Face the State. This is what we do. We appreciate everything that's going on. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.